We are here with an absolute Arsenal legend, Manuel Abue.
When I saw Arsene Wenger in the office, I was shaking because I said, "Wow, Pires was playing on my side, Ruben Pires, so it was fast." I said, "Okay, you." Today, I said to Lauren, I said, "You, I will take your place." He said to me, "Are you sure?" I said, "Look, me, I was scared of Yes Lemon." This guy
really scary.
Yeah. This guy was very scared of him because he's a very serious guy, you know.
Was that the game that day when you had that bad performance?
Yes, already. Me personally, I knew that today is not my day. He made the
took you off at half, which is something he didn't do that a lot.
I look at him when I turn around. I saw the fans. Nobody, even my teammate, came to support me. It was only Adebayo.
Hi, and welcome along to the Invincible podcast. We are here with you tonight on a stream today. We're not actually in the studio, but listen, it's good to be here. Lee Judges is in the building. How you doing, Lee?
Yeah, all good, Rob. All good.
Okay. Great to have you on board. And listen, as we say in all these lives, remember, we're coming live to you guys every single night now at 7 p.m., right? So 7 p.m., we're going to be coming to you live, right? And we are live here today with the Invincible podcast. Laurie's going to be joining us later on as well. But first of all, I've got to go with some breaking news, Lee, which has sort of sidetracked me a little bit. Apologies for even starting the show slightly late because I was taking in this news. News breaking today from David Ornstein, who claims that Gabriel Martinelli faces more than a month on the sidelines with the hamstring injury suffered in the Arsenal loss against Newcastle. Early indications suggest that the 23-year-old winger is set to miss the games against Leicester, West Ham United, Nottingham Forest, and potentially Manchester United and Crystal Palace, as well as the a Champions League game in the last 16. I mean, you couldn't write it, could you, Lee? We were all moaning a couple of nights ago about the lack of transfers, the lack of transfer business, especially when it came to the attack as well. That was the main thing we were moaning about. We didn't bring in a striker. We didn't even bring in a forward player. Now Martinelli's going to miss all of those games. That means the only attacking players that will be left will be Trossard, Havertz, Ethan Nwaneri, and Raheem Sterling to go through all of those games. I mean, this is a disaster already.
What can you say? You know, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? And it's gone in the first game back as well. Like, you know, listen, it's been an absolute catastrophe, this transfer window. I'm going to be really honest, Rob. I sat there coming home and, you know, we was all getting home from Newcastle. And then when I got home, and I thought to myself, I'm deflated by that transfer window, really deflated by it. And I wonder whether that was so poor a performance that some of those players were as well, like, because I have got no idea how they can go from so well on the Sunday to that. And I look back at this transfer window, who's ever in charge of it, who's ever said that is, so you must go somewhere along the line. It's somewhere like you, and then you go like, yeah, you're the one that signs it off. Well, whoever signed this off and said, well, we ain't going to go for that one, should be out the door now. But you know what? They're probably like, at this moment, having a cocktail in a Dubai 5-star hotel, sanding their toes, not bothered about it. It's absolute scandalous what's happened, like, you know. and I'm being really honest now. The club has shown me what they actually, their ambitions are. We haven't got the ambitions to be the elite, the best, the top club in the country, like, you know. We haven't got that ambition, Rob, and it's been proved in this transfer window. And I'm really, really down about it, like, you know. And this is what it's like. Anybody knew if you're playing all these games, there's always someone that can get injured or whatever, and particularly up front because of the workload that's put on them. And at the end of it, it ain't all about workload, Rob. I don't know what it is, because Martinelli's not been playing week in, week out. He's had a game off here and there and everything like that. So it just shows you it's not just about workload. It's about everything. And if you're not, you can manage minutes for certain players. They're still going to get injured, Rob. So why on earth haven't they done anything now? Instead of being there in Dubai now, they should be looking through all the free transfers to see what is available and get at least one free transfer now. I don't care if he's 58, 38, 28. Get something.
Maybe they get you.
Well, listen, I can do a better job than Saka, and I can do a better job than Martinelli for the next 5-6 weeks. I can tell you that. And another thing that's really wearing me up, I said it on the Forever this morning, like, you know, the PR of this club makes my blood boil, like, you know. Putting out pictures of Saka going out there and all that, like, you know, he is nowhere near going to be. Look, Martinelli's not even got to have an operation, and they're saying 5-6 weeks. He's had an operation, like, you know, on his hamstring. He's gone for this season, and for him actually not to go and buy anybody. And at the end of it, Rob, should we as a club, as fans, spending all the money that we do, should we be now looking, oh, we need to get a free transfer here from whatever? It is unbelievably poor, Rob. Poor.
Yeah, listen. I was chatting to somebody today, and they said something that really struck me. They said they were more disappointed in the January transfer window than they were with the result against Newcastle. You know what I mean? The guy said to me, he goes, the Newcastle result, listen, we're 2-0 down. It was always going to be a tall order, you know, it is what it is. But he goes, the January transfer window, and especially deadline day, was something that we could have done something about. And we did nothing. And within a day of that, or 2 days of that, we are paying the price. You know, you couldn't. And what I don't understand for a club which we've seen with Arsenal, they're so meticulous with things, with set piece organisation, with the way we play, with even going out to Dubai and trying to, you know, lower the margins of everything they do. How could they not think that they needed to bring in somebody before the end of this window? And you cannot tell me there was no one. Because even when I look at somebody like Asensio, don't get me wrong, he wouldn't have been the ideal person, but he could have played. He's been a Spanish international. He's scored goals. He's played for Real Madrid. He was available on a free. So when they say nobody was available, he's gone to Villa now. We could have got him. How? We're basically now relying on Havertz to stay completely fit, Trossard. Then you've got Ethan Nwaneri, who's a 17-year-old kid who's burst onto the scene, but you can't overplay a 17-year-old kid. We know that. And then you've got Raheem Sterling that's not been on form all season. How do they expect to win the league? I'm baffled, man. Honestly. How do you not bring in any reinforcements?
Do you know what these owners and everybody deserves to happen to? Not us fans. Do you know what do you know what the cronk is? Mikel Arteta deserves to happen for us today is to end up not getting Champions League football. That's what they deserve. They deserve that. Us fans don't. They deserve that, you know. 3 transfer windows out of 4 since we've been in the transfer window. In 2 of them, Robbie, we've not spent a penny, right? Not a penny, like, you know. Last transfer window, we sold. We made £5 million, right? So no, we spent £5 million with the sales and everything. So when they go on about, oh, let's get the Champions League, what is the Champions League for? Money. That is all it is for, like, you know, because you have showed no ambition to me that you ever think that you're going to win it this year by not doing what you've done. We had, you know, we're in the last 8, 3rd we come in that league, and what we've done is looked at it and gone, do you know, well, that's good enough. We've got another round. It is scandalous.
They got 12 million for that, by the way.
Yeah, oh, great. You know what I mean? Another 12 million for that. And at the end of it, we've all got to spend more money to go to that game. home and away or whatever. Listen, that's a fan's choice. So I get that, but at the end of it, I just look at it now. I come away from Sunday's ground on I didn't get a train home. I floated home. I didn't get a train. I floated home. You know what I mean? I don't even remember getting home, Robbie. How I got home, I was buzzing. We was all. I see a few of my mates on the train. We was all buzzing. Everybody was in unbelievable spirits. The next day, we was all doom and gloom because we couldn't believe we didn't get anybody. Do you know what? When I turned around and said, "Oh, we ain't getting no one," I was mucking about and all that, to just get a reaction from a couple of my mates. Don't be stupid, Lee. Of course we're going to get somebody. It's without a doubt, you know what I mean? Of course we're going to get it. And no one could believe it. In the groups that I'm in and all that, could not believe it.
Yeah.
And now there's pressure on the manager now, Rob, because, it's another cup. Then the next day they go out of a cup. The next day you see them all going to Dubai and all that, with all new merchandise on and everything like that. The fans are getting the hump. Fans are getting the hump with it now, I can sense it with there's a couple of guys in my groups that are very, very much for the club, and Arteta, you can't criticise like that. But at this moment in time, they're now going, I don't know what's going on with this football. The lack of ambition, the lack of this, I think, it's just incredible what they've done, I look at it and I think, you've come third in the Champions League. You've got teams like Real Madrid and Manchester City battling it out against each other. One of the big guns is definitely going there's an opportunity getting that bottom half of that group. It opens up, Rob. And we've looked at it and gone, that's all right. That's all right. And we're gambling on injuries. And then in the first game, you get an injury.
Even if everybody was fit, we would have still needed a striker. We would have still been saying, this January transfer window, let's go out and get a striker. But it's no Jesus, no Saka, no Martinelli. You could argue those probably our three best attacking players. Yeah. None of them, because I think, Havertz scored more goals than all of them. But honestly, I don't understand it. I don't understand how somebody on Monday could have sat there and said, actually, we'll be all right. We'll be all right until the end of the season. And I was asking this question last night. We had a Turkish and Premzi on.
I'll see it.
And I was asking that question. I'm going to ask it to you. Whose fault do you think this is? Whose fault is this? Is it Arteta's fault? Or is it the board's fault? And who's buying these players? Who are buying? I read an article where it said that, this guy is Ato, that Arsenal have been impressed with Ato, and they may give him the job permanently. What's he done to impress? We ain't bought anybody. I don't. What is it? Impressed that he didn't spend any money?
It's like putting Julian in our midfield on a game, and unbelievable. That absolutely nothing. It's horrendous. It's horrendous.
I don't get it. But it's almost like, who was behind this? Who do you think's behind this?
All of them. I think all of them to blame. You telling me, right? You telling me that someone from the recruiting hasn't said to Arteta, look, we can get this person and this person, and he's gone. Arteta must have gone, no. He must have done, because if I don't think that Arteta comes out and people are trying to give him a pass on this, and blaming the Cronkies and all that, Listen, this is a guy I see on a, in that all or nothing thing, want to get rid of Aubameyang, costing this club millions. And what did they do? They backed him on it, even though it was costing them millions and millions of pounds, but they still went with him. So if he would have gone up to him and said, I want this and I want that, I'm pretty sure they would have backed him, Rob.
But the reason why I was asking that question, Lee, right, is because all transfer window, he kept saying, we're short, we're light. Even I remember in a couple of press conferences, he was almost like, there's one where he said, it's obvious we need to bring someone in because we're so short. So that suggests to me somebody, if they're saying that publicly, that's somebody who's really pushing to bring someone in. So why didn't they get that person in? And then are the people that are buying or looking to buy these players, are they qualified enough? And when I say qualified, it's not that you get a qualification for doing this job, but you have to have a certain gravitas, don't you, when you go out into the market, right? We were saying yesterday, somebody like a David Dean who had a contact book of everybody right around the world, and could pick up the phone to any chairman or any sporting director of any club, and they know who he is, and they could have do these guys that are there now, do they have that gravitas? Do they have that contact book? I don't know.
What do you reckon?
It seems strange to me that they've got no one.
Well, what do you reckon? They obviously haven't.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You know, there's more to it than when Edu left. I said it at the time because we spoke to him in the summer. You know what he's like, how enthusiastic he was about Arsenal and the projects and everything like that. For him just to leave, it seemed very, very strange at the time. Didn't really get the players I think that we was all looking for in the summer, if to be really honest. You know, it didn't look like it from that point of view. And in this January window, to go through and get none, it is just... Well, listen, a couple of seasons ago, Rob, we was challenging for the title and we didn't buy anybody. And we ended up losing Saliba and Tommy Assam and losing the league. So you think that they'd have learnt their lesson. You know, now we're in an absolute worse state than what we was back then. And we haven't, you know, got anybody. I don't think a club like Arsenal and the money that these fans pay, moving away from Highbury to this stadium, that we should be gambling on not getting players injured. No. We've been here before, by the way, in this stadium with Giroud. Do you remember when Giroud was the only forward? We've been here before, and we're now another 10 years down the line here again after paying out top season ticket prices year in, year out, seeing players sold from us all the time, and still 10 years later the club is gambling. And I don't care what anybody says, it's not acceptable. And I see a lot of fans at Newcastle, everybody was down about it, like, you know. And listen, they could have covered that up if they would have beaten Newcastle. You know, look, we don't need this. We've beaten Man City 5-1. Now we've gone and smashed Newcastle and everything like that. But what that game highlighted more than anything was that we were toothless up front. We never looked like scoring. We didn't have nothing to change it.
34, I think they said 34 chances over the 2 games.
And no goals. It was highlighted unbelievably in a big game, semi-final, what you're lacking. A day before that, you've done nothing about it. Now, you know, and then what was it, 20 minutes into that game that Martinelli got, we could see him walking off. Yeah, listen, you're playing now like Wanyeri, I think, come on and done really, really well. And probably at this moment in time, is the best choice at that right-hand side.
Yep. Well, yeah, he's going to have, like, there's nobody else, is there, apart from it's him or Sterling, right? And he's the one playing better out of the 2 at the moment.
Yeah.
Let me just do a couple of super chats there, Lee. Big up to Joe AFC Largy. Also, I want to big up to Ryan Coyne. He says, we're hoping for 2 seasons to save our season. 1 at least. Instead, our hope is on Dubai. A bloody country, he says. What a shambles. And Josephone says, 1 FA Cup in over 5 years is simply not good enough. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let me, we got Laurie there. I'd like to get his opinion on it as well. Let me bring Laurie in.
How you doing, yeah, I'm all right. How you doing, bro?
How are we doing? You good?
Yeah, listen, first off, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be amongst such, how can I put it, legends of the Arsenal fan fraternity. So, yeah, man, I'm good.
Yeah, what have you made of it, Laurie? Let me just repeat this again, because these are our social guys, and big up to Kane. They've been putting this together. Trying to estimate the games he'll miss, right? So, according to what David Ornstein's saying, he's definitely going to miss Leicester away, West Ham at home, Nottingham Forest away. Then he could miss the first leg of the Champions League, Manchester United away, the second leg of the Champions League, and Chelsea at home. Those are the games. The last sort of 4 are doubtful. It depends how quick he recovers from this hamstring injury. But he could possibly miss all of those games. That would be a total of 7 games. I said 6, 7 games. Why didn't we buy anyone, Laurie?
Yeah, it's just shocking, isn't it, really? I mean, I find it inconceivable that a major club like Arsenal have not strengthened in the January window, especially when you consider that we're already down to the bare bones. As you guys have said, we've just lost Martinelli, who's a big part of our forward line. And you think that a club like Arsenal, like they would have done their due diligence. I mean, something like a sporting director in recruitment is something that should be done all year round, meaning that you've got an eye on the market, who's going where, who's available, you're sounding out people, you've got your contact list, as Robin referred to earlier. So come January, you'd have thought that they'd be ready to go because the need to sign somebody was already there before we got to where we are now, you know? And and as you said, Robin, if you're really ambitious about winning things, you've got to strengthen. You've got to do your due diligence, bring players in, the right types of players. The only thing I can think of, and again, obviously I don't know, is that maybe the club may have taken the view that if they can't get a person who fits their profile or fits what they want to bring in, they might be thinking to themselves, well, we'll hold on to the money and go big in the summer. But obviously there's inherent risks in doing that.
What about a loan, though? What about a loan? You've seen, like I said, a player like Marco Asensio has gone on a loan to Aston Villa. There's no obligation to buy, just a straight loan. Randall Kolo Muani has gone on a loan from PSG as well to Juventus. And by the way, he scored 3 goals in his first 2 games. Right? He's a forward player. Straight loan. No obligation to buy, nothing, just a straight loan. Surely, if they'd have been proactive and they'd been looking at that, surely they could have bagged at least one of those 2. Both of them available from PSG. They can't say there was no one. You may not have your ideal guy. They tried to get Ollie Watkins, who, by the way, he's injured as well. I see that he's out of the game on Sunday for Aston Villa. You didn't get him, but you must have been looking at other possible loan guys that you could get. Because we all know that the talk is they want to go and get that big name striker in the summer, which they ain't able to get right now. All right, we understand that. But couldn't you get a loan? Because this was always a worry. You got Jesus out, you got Saka out. That's 2. One more's down now. Who's going to play up front? Calafiori? I mean, it's crazy.
Well, he does finish well. I'll give him that.
Well, I saw him playing quite attacking the other night. Maybe they are thinking of that. I ain't even joking.
No, but all jokes aside, it is a perilous situation. I mean, and then the one thing
it didn't need to be. You know what? A perilous situation that didn't need to be. Sorry, I jumped in there.
No, I mean, no, you're right. And it goes back as well to something that I've said in the past, and I think it was Lee touched on it earlier. It makes you slightly skeptical. Certainly got to ask the question of Edu suddenly leaving. I think it was back in November, wasn't it? He left the club.
Yeah.
He's taken up that role with the Forest group. And at the time, I looked at that and I thought, well, why is he left now? 3 months into the start of the season. He'd already turned that job down previously, saying that it wasn't the right time. Now, 3 months into the season starts in August. He's gone in November. And there was no real reason given for him leaving, was it? I mean, I think he did some kind of auspicious, pursuing other options or something like that. And I thought to myself at the time, that doesn't really ring right to me, you know? So it does make me wonder whether there was some kind of creative tensions going on there. Was it Edu was becoming frustrated at not being listened to by the hierarchy of the club? Could it be that he'd had a kind of falling out or difference of opinions with the manager about who to bring in? And maybe he thought that he was being undermined, so he felt he had to resign. But it does seem strange. And then what made it even worse is he's not even starting this job until later on, is he? He's effectively on gardening leave at the moment.
Yeah.
And I remember I questioned that at the time, and a lot of people said, "Nah, I'm sure he's." You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, so you look back on things now, and you think maybe there was something to
There's obviously something just to it. Tomo Duff with the super chat says, Tell went on loan to Spurs, Matthias Tell. And Leandros says our income is lacking compared to our rivals. That's on the Cronkies. Fabrizio said that we saved on Cunha for a 9 in the summer. This aspect needs to improve. Now, even if you can't get Cunha, you could still have got a loan move in. Lee, I mean...
Listen, I love it that Arsenal fans trying to make excuses for this and that, like, you know, trying to do this, you know, the narrative, like, oh, we want to get this big striker in the season, in the summer. Well, who is that big striker then going to be like? You know what I mean? If it's Sesko, I don't think, you know what I mean, that's like risking the whole season for. I can understand it if it was Isak. I could understand it. Ain't going to be Isak. Come on, you know that. I know that. It's not going to be him. Like, you know what I mean?
Why not?
We'll end up with Jacob Murphy. That's what we'll end up with. Like, you know, it's not good. Well, because I don't see it happening. I don't see Newcastle willing to sell, and if they do, you know, it's going to be a lot of money, and I don't know. You know, you know, it's going to be 150 million of our budget, isn't it? Like, you know, how much are we going to have next year? You've got to spend a lot of money. Don't forget, we've got to buy midfield players. We're letting 2 midfield players go. We've got players from obviously Tierney's going to go. We've got to get a goalkeeper. I don't really know what to say about it. Really,
you know what, Lee? Yeah? All those things you're talking about are in the summer. We're in February now. Players just gone down injured. I don't really care about the summer right now. I don't care a jot about the summer right now. What I care about is now. Why didn't they? And a few days ago, they could have done something about it, and now they can't. Unless, like you said, there's a free agent somewhere. Who's that? Suarez? Going to bring him out of retirement or something? Well, it's crazy.
I'd rather have something than nothing, you know. You got to have a look at other things, Rob. You know what I mean? I'll tell you who could play for us. Our academy fella that's come through with Wanyeri and Lewis Miles Lewis Skelly. Oh no, we sold him to Man United. Oh, all right, you know, like it's, you know, it's not just that. If that is what the case is, the club's now going, oh, we're going to do it on the, you know, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, like the fans should get their money back from Newcastle. Like, listen, I don't think that we should. We had a choice to go and we went, like, you know, so that ain't it. But I'll tell you what. I want. If they said, right, can you have your money back for your season ticket now? I think I'm entitled to that, because at the end of it, when I bought in the beginning of this season, my season ticket was before the transfer window. I never thought that Arsenal were going to give up halfway through. I didn't think that they were going to do that. That's what they've exactly done, Rob. They've exactly done that. They give up halfway through. They've said, oh, we're not worried about it now. We'll go on to next season. We secure Champions League football and we're going on for it next season, like, you know. Well, I want to know if this club wants to secure Champions League football next season, or it wants to genuinely win titles, Champions Leagues, and does it genuinely want to win titles before I even want to invest in a new season ticket next season, Rob. I'm being honest, I'm really down about it all at this moment in time, because I feel the club have
let us down.
Let us down, yeah. They took my money and let us down. Now, I'll tell you this, right? They're asking you, right, as a fan, to go and spend a lot of money, right, for your season ticket, to go into the bars and buy, you know, expensive drinks, which is crap, by the way, right? Go into the bars and buy the drinks. Go to the shop and buy over-the-top jackets because it's got a cannon on it. You know, if you want to go and buy an Adidas top, it's 50 quid. Go and buy it with a cannon on it, it's 80 quid, right? They want you to do that and do that. And then when it comes to them spending out of money, I'd say, oh, no, we're skinflint. We won't do this. We don't that. And that's exactly how I feel at this moment in time. They want me to spend. And don't get me wrong, I have done in the past. I'm quite happily to do, because I did genuinely believe that, you know, when I've spoken to Edu and you watch the team, that they were genuinely wanting to win the title. We are going to win the title. Do you remember a couple of seasons ago? Like there was a genuine thing. We went when we spoke to Edu in Germany. He said, "Lee, we're not just building for Champions League. We were going to go and win it." And I believed that. I come back and said, "We're going to win this league in the next couple of years." And this transfer window has told me, "No, you're not. You're liars. You're con artists." And it's my football club that you've done that, you know. And I feel very, very. I feel cheated, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Arsenal have gone out to a Friday night nightclub and come back with two blokes, you know what I mean? Like, and it's out of order, like, you know. I've just got to take it on the chin and, like, go again the next week, like, you know what I mean? It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
That might be their preference, two blokes. Big up to Josephone. He says, let's be honest, Arteta's had a lot of money and the owners have had full rights reserved. How many managers get £105 million to spend on one player? Right, well, listen, it wouldn't have cost much for a loan. Leandros says, agree, it's no excuse after the summer sales and loan options. Gary Rickard with a super chat says, when the players see how things are run, will they come? And Rye2896 says, Rob, Lee and Laurie, Ishmael Kabia needs to be called up. And you might see him being called up. Let me get him. We've got somebody else on. We've got Stricto there. Stricto, how you doing?
Yo.
Hey.
Oh, exactly.
That don't look like somebody who's happy at all.
I can see that season ticket going through the air as we speak.
Man, how pathetic, bro. Absolutely pathetic. And you know what, yeah? You just flipping knew as soon as the window closed, something like this was going to happen. It was either going to be an injury to one of the forward lines, or it was going to be the forward line couldn't convert to save their life. It was going to be one of the two. And well, if we add Newcastle game, it's both. It's two of the two. We've now had our forward line who can't convert, and now we've got injury to our forwards. Oh man. Listen, when we are frustrated, yeah, it's almost like I've said before, you can see a car crash happening so slow. We can see it, but the club can see it, but they're ignoring it. It's like they've given up on the league. They've given up on the season as far as I'm concerned. I don't care about Champions League. I don't care about, you know, I don't care we're going to win the Champions League for start. I don't think we're going to win it. So if they're thinking, oh, you know, we're going to take the gamble because, you know, we might nick a Champions League, a competition we've never nicked. With elite players playing, with the likes of Henry, Vieira, likes of Bergkamp, we've never one final, by the way, one final in the Champions League. So now you're expecting it to be Sterling, to be a young Owaneri, to be a young Miles Lewis Kelly. Come on, like it's not a gamble. Let's have it straight. It's not a gamble. It's straight arrogance and disrespect to the fans. That's exactly what it is. Let's call it for what it is. A gamble is something that's at least 50-50, 60-40. This is 99% no chance. It's not a gamble. I can't believe it.
I can't believe it. I mean, back to you again, Lee. It's about giving yourself the best chance, isn't it, to win something? Nobody's guaranteed to win the league. And listen, Liverpool are by far the favourites to win it at the moment. And nobody's guaranteed to win the Champions League. Look, there's still like literally every team left in it. But they are gambling, aren't they? They're like, well, maybe. They're not giving themselves the best chance to put themselves in a position to win it.
Exactly that, like, you know, and this is what's really annoying me about Dubai as well, like, because they've gone over to Dubai, right, to try and win the league or win the Champions League. You know, that's what it is for. Like, oh, we done it well last season. Well, last season, no, it was a winter break. That's why you went on it. The reason you're out there now is because every other team challenging for the title with us or whatever is playing in the cup this week, and we're out of it. Like, so what we've done is we've given reward for failure. That's how I see it. And at the end of it, I don't mind if they go out there for 6 weeks, right? When they come back, they're going to get done by somebody, because there's plenty of Newcastles out there in the Champions League. There's plenty of teams out there that are going to stifle us away from home and get a result. Like, we struggled last season in the Champions League, right? Got through the group stage, if you remember it. Come back from Dubai, Let's not forget that. We was out in Dubai when we come back. We lost to Porto away. We beat them 1-0 and went through on penalties. And then we drew at home and lost to Bayern Munich. So coming back from Dubai in the Champions League, right, we lost 2 games, won 1 and drew 1. That's what we done. So with a bigger and better squad, stronger squad on top form. We've got our best player down. Our best player went down in December, right? Two years ago, our best defender went down against Fulham, right? We then couldn't do nothing about it, and we ended up losing the league, right? I know hands are tied. Oh, if only we would have been in the chair in the window, we could have done something. Was what we were saying. There's nothing we could do, but this time they had everything in their favour. Like, you can't do nothing about Martinelli now because it's February, but we had a chance in December, full well knowing, right, that. And I'll tell you this now: if he does not play by March, Saka. So I want Arteta and the rest of that, the medical staff, everybody sacked because you've pinned your hopes on him coming back and all that. That's not going to happen.
He may not come back.
I don't think he will.
In the interview that we did with Dr. Andre,
exactly.
He said that when you've had surgery on a hamstring, that's 4 to 6 months. He goes, then you can't rush back a major asset.
Exactly that.
Like
the doctor that come to the game, didn't we? Yeah. With the doctor that come to the game, you know.
So that's 2 doctors we've spoken to, and both of them are
he works for a professional football club.
Yep.
And he turned around and said, if he has to have an operation on that, he will be out minimum. He turned around and said 3 months, minimum 3 months.
Well, Dr. Andre, who we do the regular interviews with from Oxford Natural, he said. Minimum, he said 4 to 6 months. He goes, when you get that type of injury, and he said you cannot rush hamstrings, especially when you've had surgery on it. He goes, of course, you can come back. That goes again. He goes, you could be gone for a whole year. He goes, could be your career done. So you can't rush those sort of things. Laurie and Stricto, I want to ask both of you this, right? Because you've heard Lee's opinion on this. Do you think it's right that they've gone to Dubai at this time?
Well, I'm presuming that they've gone to Dubai as a way of, especially after the disappointment of Newcastle. I think it makes sense, to be honest. Get away. That result and performance was such a poor one. They probably need to get away. They're going to do a bit of warm weather training, a bit of bonding, sit down, have some honest conversations with each other, and basically just clear their heads.
In Southend, Laurie.
Yeah. Mind you, Southend is not quite as exotic and appealing as Dubai. But yeah, I mean, I did a show with Qualms the other day, and on the LL Sports TV channel. Quick little plug there. But yeah, we were saying that it's the 3 R's: bit of resting, bit of recuperating, and most importantly, rejuvenation. Because when they get back, they've got like 3 games coming up in quick succession. I mean, they've got Leicester away. Now, that seems like a very winnable game, but we've got to remember it's away. Leicester are better at home, and also Leicester are fighting for their lives. They've also got West Ham. We know that West Ham on their day can cause us problems. They beat us a couple of times last season. And then they've got a massive game away against Forest. That's away in the midweek against Forest, and Forest are doing big things right now. So 3 potentially difficult games. So they need to come back from Dubai refreshed, like I said, rested, but most importantly, rejuvenated and ready to go.
Okay, what about you, Stricto? Do you have a problem with him going to Dubai?
I mean, Laurie said 3 R's. I'm thinking about 3 B's: beach, ball, and bottling. That's what came to mind. Do I have an issue with it? I mean, we're sponsored by Emirates, so I imagine it's all covered by the sponsorship or something aligned with the sponsorship to sort of promote Arsenal over there. I don't know, but they've got nothing doing, I suppose, this weekend. Historically, Dubai was apparently one of the main reasons why we rejuvenated last season and put up those runs that we did. So I don't know, maybe they're trying to see whether or not that could help us. But listen, I would rather them stay here and just get on with the reality of what they're getting on with. But listen, it can't be on the players. You know, it's not on the players. It's the board. It's beyond what's happening on the pitch. It's the board, because the players that we have available, and let's be realistic, are second in the league, finished third in the Champions League, with all the European giants. Only 2 teams finished above us, so the team that we have. We complain about certain players not pulling the performances that they've been pulling these last couple seasons, but the reality is we are second. So it's not on the players, but we're running the risk of running these players into the ground. Havertz in particular, might not like Havertz, he's not my cup of tea, but he's all we have. So therefore, he's as good as Ronaldo. He's as good as Ronaldo to us right now. Do you know what I'm saying? But we have an issue of running him to the ground. In a couple months' time, there's going to be internationals. So they're going to go after internationals again, and then get run down in that. We saw it this season with Odegaard. Odegaard going off international duties, getting injured,
and Saka.
So and Saka. So that's my issue, is purely on the board. I can't level it at the players, because I believe the players are very disappointed in what's going on. You know, Saka's got injured because we've never had a rotation for Saka. Saka plays 90 minutes for England, plays 90 minutes for Arsenal, whether the game is important or not important. So it's beyond, and maybe that's where Arteta's got to be leveled at. You've overused some plays, you've overused some positions. So I'm not bothered that they're going to Dubai per se, because I imagine, like I said, was sponsored by Emirates, so I'm sure it's in line with the sponsorship.
Yeah, maybe should ask Emirates for a player. Bartek says, after Dubai, we will win all the games and lose the league by 1 point, and then we lose the final of the Champions League. Bo93 says, the pain this club gives us, not healthy anymore. And Napster says, such a shame that Aliko Dangote pulled out of buying us. He seemed to have a bit of passion for the club. The Cronkies want us to feed their USA interests. It's interesting. We've not really heard much criticism of the Cronkies over the past year. Not much, but it's really coming back now. And it's, you know, fans saying there's a lack of ambition, Lee.
Yeah. And I've just thought of something, like, you know, when Stricto's saying about the Emirates. Is the Emirates not FA Cup sponsored by Emirates? Don't do us any favours whatsoever. Well, it does. I'll tell you what, we'll give you a draw against Liverpool, Man United and Man City, so you can come on our trips to Dubai, things like that. You know?
I like that conspiracy. I like that conspiracy, Lee.
Listen, the Cronkies haven't come into criticism of late, because they've put money up in transfer windows, and they've showed a little bit of ambition when you're signing players like Havertz for 65 million, Declan Rice now. I don't know whose choice that was for Havertz at the end of the day, whether you think that's right or wrong, but the money was put up. The money was put up for Timber. Very, very good signing. The money was been, so, you know, if you look at that window that we had, we also signed, who was it, Raya as well in that window, like Raya, Timber, Rice and Havertz.
Yeah, okay. After you.
Yeah, so that's not a bad window, like, you know what I mean, like for a ball to put up, and that's, you know, but they've got to come under the pump now. That, you know, I don't know what it is with everybody. Everybody wants to seem, you know, one of my mates, I won't mention him, he will not blame anybody else, but the Cronkies. You know what I mean? If Mikel plays the wrong team, it's the Cronkies' fault. It's the Cronkies' fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. They've got to take their blame on that. There's somebody who's employed. What do they call that recruitment start? Well, you know, like you go in the door. What do they have on the door, Robbie? Recruitment room? Because it ain't that.
Sporting director.
I don't know what they have on it, like, you know what I mean?
Eddie was a sporting director, wasn't he?
Well, I don't know what they have on it. It certainly shouldn't be called recruitment because they don't do any of it. Like, I don't really know what it should be, like, you know what I mean? It should be playground or dog walking facility or something like that. Winners kennel, is it, or something like that? I ain't got a clue, right?
The ha room.
Is that recruitment out there in Dubai now? I wonder if they're out there, like, you know. Actually, I bet they're recruiting waiters and waitresses for their service and all that on the things, like, because they've done nothing to merit anything, like, you know what I mean? Taking a wage or whatever, like, what have they done?
I really don't know. That's why I said that I couldn't believe it where they're saying that this Ato guy's impressed them. I don't impress them with what? There's not one signing.
A cup of tea, Rob, apparently.
As I've been saying all along, this is my opinion, yeah? In January, we were desperate to get a forward player. Not that we needed, desperate. Now, how can you be desperate to get someone and get nobody? That is the thing that baffles me. We know you may not get your number one target. Ollie Watkins weren't Arsenal's number one target. We know that.
Yeah.
That was the best just going at the time. But to me, they didn't work hard enough, quick enough, because that player should have come in. Like you said, Lee, when you think about how long Saka's been out, that player should have come in at the start of the January transfer window. And maybe we wouldn't have lost the first leg against...
100%.
Sorry?
100%.
Yeah, maybe we wouldn't have lost that.
I remember Saka got injured 3 days before the window opened.
Yeah.
3 days before the window opened. Not when the window opened.
Exactly. And the thing is about it as well, like Stricto, right? Just to, how these transfer things work. Obviously, you can't start talking to players until the window opens. But you can have your list of targets. You can be making a list. So when Saka goes down now, that sporting director, whoever is in charge of recruitment, right then and then should have been making up a short list of players that are gettable in January. Because I know, I said it the other night, this January transfer window has been particularly difficult because of the nature of how the Champions League and the Europa League is now. You got players that would have been let go last year in January that teams are keeping hold of because they're still in the competition. But they should have put a list together before the window opened of players that, may be available on loans or maybe, that we could get in. It don't look like they did that to me. It's terrible. Laura, I'm going to bring you, let me do a few super chats. I'll bring you in. Benji says, we had this coming. No squad depth, no title. Leandros says, would you sell Saliba if it meant 100% Isak coming in? Hands up if you do that. Okay. Colton says, just wait till the summer so you can wait till January. That's true.
That's right. Well, that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. Cryptid says, who would you guys rather on a free or for 6 months? A 36-year-old Diego Costa or Mariona Diaz? And we've got Vede who says, Arteta made it clear what we needed and the board failed him. This team ruined my birthday week so far. Bless up from Philly. Go Eagles. I want the Eagles. So we was at their ground. That's where Arsenal played, wasn't it? In Philly.
Yeah. No, I don't like the Eagles. Beat Washington. Can't stand them.
I know you love your American football. But going back, sorry, Stricto, you was about to say something, weren't you?
I was just thinking about the signings that Villa made, the signings that Spurs made, a few other clubs made some signings. And I remember at the time you asked a question if we would take Marcus Rashford. And I think a lot of us sort of turned our nose at it. Right now, I would take Marcus Rashford, both hands. I would take Donnell Marlin. I would take every player that's walked through that Villa door right now. Because it is depth, it is, whether we like it or not, it's experience, it's players who are international players, it's players who can, I suppose, trying to redeem themselves in their football career. No other time than to do it than an Arsenal team that's challenging for a title. So all of it, all favors favors us. You know, if we would have got them, you know, we are not in the need of cosmetic help. We need major surgery. This isn't because we want to look good. This isn't because we're into commercial interest. This is purely trying to win medals, trying to win trophies. So again, I'm going to go back to this. Like, we had a really shit window in the summer, and we haven't even matched it.
Oh yeah, that is true, isn't it, Lee?
Well, you can't argue. Listen, you know, before we go, like, I felt, look, on the back of last season, the run that we had and everything like that, it was difficult, I think, to improve on that team. Like, you know, maybe a striker, yeah, we all thought that was coming in, but that was an unbelievable run of games, you know, and so it'd been hard to say, right, we're going to leave you out. So I understand that they looked to strengthen the squad. And probably didn't get the whatever they wanted to go. But like, then things changed. You know what I mean? Through injuries or whatever. Odegaard went out and never. And let's be honest, he's not been the same since that injury. He's nowhere near the player he was last season. Players of the form of last season have dipped. You know, Saka's got injured. Havertz hasn't hit the heights of last season. Trossard hasn't hit the heights of last season. Declan Rice was struggling up until 4 or 5 weeks ago, like, you know. So things change. So then you've got the January transfer window is a thing, right? Okay, we didn't get what we wanted in the summer, so now let's move and get something done now. And they've done nothing on the back of a poor window. Makes that even worse. You know,
even Lee, why didn't they bring back Fabio Vieira?
Well, exactly.
He's our player on loan. Nuno Tavares.
Anyone of them, like Nelson, any three of them would have helped us out in over the courses. We're not saying that we wanted players to back us. That, right, I get it, right. If you want to be really, let's just try and be sensible about it. You ain't going to get your main targets in the summer, are you? Like, you know, like if it is Isaac or whatever it is, you're not going to get him, right. I get that in this window. So, okay. What can you get? Right, we can get players to back up what we've got so that if we can, you know, rotate a little bit and everything like that. Now, we might be 3-0 up against Leicester. Hopefully we are in a couple of weeks' time. And what will Liverpool do? And they will say, right, okay, Mo, off you come. So-and-so, off you come. Get some other player. We can't because we haven't got anybody to do that. So we can't. When we win the games, we're going to have to keep the players on, risking injury all the time. When they say injuries happen, last 20 minutes. Tottenham yesterday against Liverpool, 15 minutes from the end, the game was over. Off come your play. Off you come. We cannot even do that, Rob. Now we've got to keep all three, or at least two of them on for the 90 minutes every game. You know, that is scandalous. And you're seeing Liverpool taking off their players when they've won games 3 or 4-0. They might win again at the weekend. You watch 2 or 3-0 up, off they come, bring on some more. You know, but for us, no, it's all right. We can go out of the FA Cup because we can go to Dubai and we haven't got the extra games. We haven't got the extra games to play. Well, the extra games, you know what that gets you at the end of the season? It gets you a trophy. That is what we're doing. That's the mentality we got in a minute. Oh, no, it's good to go. And I've been guilty of it. Walking out of West Ham last year, it ain't the end of the world. We go out there. The squad ain't quite strong enough. And I said, I ain't doing that no more. Right? And now we're still doing it. Oh, we're out of the FA Cup. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, they're all right to go to Dubai and all that, like, you know. Now you're sitting in the dressing room, like, and I'm not saying it is like, you know, if we don't, do you know what? If we lose this today, we're off to Dubai. we win today, we might be Exeter away on a freezing cold February, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, all right. I'll tell you what,
sure they're not thinking that, Lee. I'm sure they're
on his sunbed as we talk, like, and old Martin's got, I'm glad you missed that penalty. Like, otherwise we wouldn't be here. We'd be playing Leicester on Saturday. You know what I mean? It's pathetic. Play every game. Look at Liverpool. Who won the League Cup last season? Liverpool. Look at them now in the final again. And now they're chasing the title. What does that tell you? That tells you they've got a squad that wants to win things. You know what I mean? Despite having a new manager. And here we are for the third, fourth season. Like, oh, it's all right to go out of a competition because our squad is not strong enough. And that is what it is. Our 11 can beat anybody, as it proved against Manchester City. But then you ask them to go again 3 days later in another competition. You said it, Rob. Oh, they look knackered. They look tired and whatever, like, you know. Why? Because the squad's not strong enough. And that is what it's down to now.
Yeah. Mr. Kaplan with the super chat says, watch our fans turn against players like Saliba or even Ethan if they want to leave. Meanwhile, we fly all over for the love of this club. To be treated like this, I'm gutted. DJ Yando SA says players are doing more than what you would have expected. If I said this squad we were giving at the beginning of the season, a break is needed. Blame the Cronkies. And Zin Sakel says if City successful on owner loan, Arsenal won't pass PSR. We got a couple of minutes left of the show, guys. Thanks to everybody who's been joining us tonight. We've got a couple of minutes left of the show. Let me just remind everybody again, these are the games that Martinelli, he will definitely miss Leicester away, West Ham at home, and Nottingham Forest away. And, you know, Premier League games already important. And he's doubtful for the first leg of the Champions League, which is a massive game. Manchester United away, another big game. Second leg of the Champions League, and Chelsea at home. Those are the potential games that he could miss, right? Which would then mean that we go into those games with an attack of Havertz, Sterling, Trossard, and Ethan Nwaneri, and then you're praying that none of them get injured, none of them drop off of form, or none of them get fatigued. What's gone on here on Monday and that last day of the transfer window is absolutely crazy, and I still can't get my head around it. But guys, we've come to the end of the show. I want to thank you all for coming on. Laurie, thanks for joining us today.
No
Stricto, always a pleasure to have you on. And of course, big up to Lee. It's been a sort of different sort of Invincible podcast today. No Julian, because where was he? Where did he go, Lee?
I think he was taking out the recruitment at Arsenal.
Do you know what? I spoke to Julian this afternoon, and he was cleaning his bins. He was cleaning his bins.
He ain't got nothing to do. That's when someone's got nothing to do in it. Cleaning his bins. Right, but he went out somewhere tonight, right?
Yeah,
so
he's out somewhere tonight, like
yeah. So no Lee. Sorry, no Julian, but thanks, Lee, for coming on. We'll be back in the studio live with the Invincible podcast next week. And don't forget, people, we are live here every single night at 7 o'clock. Every night at 7 o'clock, we're here with a live show, unless there's a game on. And of course, there's no game on this weekend. So we'll be live tomorrow at 7 o'clock and on Sunday. So make sure you join us. We'll be bringing you all the news. But the big news, breaking news, Martinelli set to miss 7 games. Guys, thank you very much. Man United playing Leicester now. May as well go and watch that. We've got nothing else to do. Oh, my days.
I just realized everyone here is bald.
That's what Arsenal fans feel like, you know. I mean, I'm full of
we are here with an absolute Arsenal legend, Manuel Eboué.
When I saw Arsene Wenger in the office, I was shaking because I said, "Wow, Pires was playing on my side, Ruben Pires. So it was fast." I said, "Okay, you." Today, I said to Lauren, I said, "You, I will take your place." He said to me, "Are you sure?" I said, "Look, me, I was scared of Yes Lemon." This guy
really scary.
Yeah. This guy was very scared of him because he's a very serious guy, you know.
Yeah. Was that the game that day when you had that bad performance?
Yes, already. Me personally, I knew that today is not my day. He made the
took you off at half, which is something he didn't do that a lot.
I look at him when I turn around. I saw the fans. Nobody, even my teammate, came to support me. It was only Adebayo.